Thanks for joining us for this edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter, Tasia Floissac. In the headlines, the governments of Dominica and Venezuela celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Petro Caribe Agreement. Honorable Kelvar Darroux reports on ECTEL meeting, and government holds faith-based organizations consultation on child abuse. Details of our headline stories and more after this.
You're watching GIS.
Thanks for staying with us. On Monday, the governments of Dominica and Venezuela officially launched a 5-week observation of the Petro Caribe Agreement in Dominica, signed in June 2005. It is through this amicable agreement that Dominica is benefiting from an undertaking of agricultural, school feeding, cultural, social, and infrastructural projects. This all forms part of the late President Hugo Chávez's vision of achieving integration and unity between Latin America and the Caribbean. General Manager of the PDV Caribe Dominica Limited, Henry Blanco, says PDV Caribe Dominica Limited is privileged to serve the governments and people of the two countries.
The Petro Caribe Agreement represents a launching out in the uncharted waters, an apparent leap in the dark. It, not surprisingly, met with some level of questioning, opposition, and even fear. 10 years later, the benefits of this bold action are clearly visible. With a functioning fuel storage and distribution plant, and individuals from across Dominica, which make up the body of the staff, totaling 40, we can surely say that this agreement has been very beneficial to this country. It is therefore fitting to congratulate Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and the Venezuelan Eternal Commander, President Hugo Chávez, may his soul rest in peace, for their vision, fruits of which we have been enjoying these significant ways. As this bilateral and multilateral relationship continues to blossom, we look forward with eagerness to a harvest of bounty for the citizens of our countries.
According to General Manager Blanco, Petro Caribe Limited is the only true alternative that developing countries have to obtain secure and reliable access to energy sources. Also addressing Monday's ceremony was His Excellency Hayden Pierla, Venezuelan ambassador to Dominica.
I want to congratulate all those who has made it possible to the Petro Caribe project. To the Eternal Commander Hugo Chávez, who is the creator of the project. To Honorable Robert Skerrit, Prime Minister, a good friend of Venezuela, our fellow, a big revolutionary minister. I want to also express my gratitude to the Petro Caribe staff, from the management to the workers. Thank you for keeping the project alive. You know that Venezuela is going through a very intense political and economic situation. However, our international commitment we have met and will continue to comply to.
The observance is being celebrated under the theme Unity is Strength. To commemorate the occasion, PDV Caribe Dominica Limited will also be hosting a series of activities throughout the upcoming weeks. According to Senior Sales and Marketing Analyst in the Marketing Department, Tamika Daniel, this includes health and safety outreach programs in namely Roseau Central, Loda, Grand Fort, and Penville, a donation by PDV Caribe to the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services, and educational activities for Dominica State College, secondary and primary school students. Representing the Honorable Prime Minister was Honorable Reginald Austri, Minister for Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management. Honorable Austri says despite speculation, Petro Caribe Dominica Limited and by extension, the government of Venezuela has played a tremendous role in the development of Dominica.
When the agreement was signed by our Prime Minister in 2005, those of you who can recall, there were very serious negative comments that were hurled at the program. Not only locally, but regionally and internationally also. You heard things like it was an alliance against the United States of America. You heard also that the Americans would be so upset with us that our people no longer be able to go to Barbados to get their visas to travel. You also heard issues of the debt that would be incurred by Dominica would be unsustainable on the Petro Caribe. In fact, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, had a lot to say about Petro Caribe at the time. But only to say today, the Petro Caribe Agreement right through the Caribbean is being hailed by one of the most serious economic programs that have been done in the last 25 years to the Caribbean.
Honorable Austri also highlighted a few of the projects achieved with assistance from PDV Caribe.
And it was through the efforts of Petro Caribe and Venezuela that we were able to construct the serious sea defense wall in Soufriere. You may want to speak to the Tatan Sea Defense Wall, right in my constituency again, an area that was vulnerable, very, very vulnerable, and again we got funding, grant funding at that, from Venezuela to erect the serious sea defense wall. You want to recall, at the beginning of the housing revolution, a revolution that has touched the lives of almost every single Dominican. The first $30 million for that project came from Venezuela as grant funding. And I don't have to tell you the impact of the housing revolution on the people of Dominica.
According to Honorable Austri, this also includes the availability of low-interest loans at the Government Loans Board, the cleanup of metallic waste in Jimmet and Portsmouth, the construction of the Salibert Primary School, monthly contributions to the island centenarians, among other social and educational projects. At that same event, Calypsonian Hunter St. Rose also launched the 10th anniversary Petro Caribe song.
We are very appreciative for the kind of support you give. Petro Caribe, you are here to stay. Let me hear you sing. Petro Caribe, you are here to stay. Centenarian enjoying the LPG. Your social programs in the country. We are very appreciative for the love and support you give. Hey, Petro Caribe, we are here to stay.
Another major highlight of the commemoration will be the renaming of the Waito Kubali storage facility in Jimmet to the Hugo Chavez storage facility on June 29, 2015. This is in recognition of the efforts of the late president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. In other news, the Honorable Minister for Information Technology, Science and Telecommunication, Kelvar Darroux, is reporting the 31st Council of Ministers meeting he attended in St. Lucia a success. The meeting, which occurred last week, dealt primarily with the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL. ECTEL's function and role is to promote market liberalization and open entry within the telecommunications sector, as well as to formulate and harmonize policies at a regional level, and to establish fair pricing and the use of cost-based pricing among telecommunication providers.
One of the top agenda items that was looked at was the recent acquisition and merger between Cable and Wireless and Columbus. As we know, this merger has serious impact on the OECS territories, particularly the countries of Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That is because with this merger, there is a high possibility that within these territories, we could see the liberalized and open free market once again turning into a monopoly. And ECTEL is very much concerned, as well as the Council of Ministers of Telecoms within the OECS territories. Dominica, because of our position and because of the service providers that we have here in Dominica, this will not pose a problem for Dominica. So we are well on our way of accepting that merger between the Cable and Wireless and Columbus.
He notes that one of the aims of ECTEL is liberalization and the creation of an open market within the telecommunications sector.
So what we've mandated ECTEL to do as a Council of Ministers is to ensure that they sit with the relevant authorities on that matter and come up with an amicable resolution so that these territories would not be affected. Because we know the challenges that we faced once upon a time in Dominica with a monopoly, whether it is in terms of electricity, whether it is in terms of telecommunications. And we've worked very hard to ensure the market is open, there is liberalization, and there can be competition within the market so that the consumers at the end of the day can benefit tremendously from an open and free access market. And so we're very much concerned about that in these territories.
The telecommunications minister says that interconnection rates as well as broadband services and speeds were also discussed as ECTEL seeks to provide customers with the best service for their money.
And so we gave the ECTEL the mandate to investigate further.
To the staff of the ministry to see how we can put measures in place, ongoing training for our staff, because it's very important how you approach people, how we speak to people. So yes, the new equipment, is going to be fine, the new MRI and the pretty $40 million investment. But if you don't have the corresponding increase or improvement in the delivery of service to our people, it is really going to be just what it is, pretty buildings. So these are intangibles that I think that we have to work on as a Ministry of Health.
You're watching National Focus. Still to come, the Social Welfare Division and the Child Abuse Prevention Unit host a faith-based organizations consultation on child abuse.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is 2 courts in 1? The CCJ has 2 functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Welcome back. The Social Welfare Division and Child Abuse Prevention Unit held a faith-based organizations consultation on Monday, May 18th. The aim of the consultation was to sensitize religious officials on the status of child abuse in Dominica and discuss their roles and responsibility as religious officials in child protection. Coordinator of the Child Abuse Prevention Unit, Gemma Luce, believes that in order to win the fight against child abuse in Dominica, a unified front is required.
And child abuse is a societal ill in Dominica, and it is one of major concerns. And we can term it as a silent emergency. And in order to combat this issue on child abuse, it needs a unified approach. That means not only the Social Welfare Division, not only the Ministry of Social Services by extension, but also you as the church, religious officials, faith-based organizations to make an input, because no one can do it alone.
Azil Lewis had this message for the religious officials.
As leaders, you are seen as frontline workers, not only in your church, but also in your community. Persons come to you for advice, look up to you and respect you because you are seen as someone who has a personal relationship with God and one who may have the answers. Therefore, it is hoped that you take this opportunity seriously and that you will create even a greater awareness on the issue of child abuse and will also implement programs and activities in your congregation and in your community targeting the issue of child abuse. Children are gifts from God, and as such, we have a moral and spiritual responsibility to protect the gift that God has placed in our lives. And I will leave you with this quote from Nelson Mandela, who was the former president of South Africa. And I quote, "Safety and security don't just happen. They are the result of a collective consensus and public investment. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear." End quote.
Chief Welfare Officer Leroy Morvan says that the role of the church is critical in preventing child abuse.
I know that not only the Social Welfare Division will benefit from the outcome of this workshop, faith-based organizations will also benefit immensely from this workshop if the church becomes aware of its role and also takes on its responsibility as church in dealing with matters of child abuse in Dominica. Functionalism views the society as a system comprising subsystems, and the church or faith-based organization, as we may want to refer them, of course, is one such subsystem. The church has its functions that are important for the survival of the society as a whole. In the absence of the role of the church, it is known that child abuse may become an issue for collaboration to harness the potential of future generations to enable the family system to survive and continue its function for the benefit of the whole.
Morvan urged the various leaders to join forces in order to play their part in ending child abuse.
One of the roles of the church should be to guide children through the primary socialization to understand the concept and values that society considers as norms, and to help apply sanctions based on social, cultural expectations that have been affected. There are indications, however, that the church is seemingly failing in that regard. Harmony among faith-based organizations is necessary in order to curb the uncleanliness of child abuse. As more and more children become affected, we see the need for greater harmony among faith-based organizations as well as with other subsystems. Secondary socializations result from the opportunities to learn from interaction with systems outside the home, such as church, school, youth clubs, health clinics, and peers. The degree to which the church succeeds in the protection of children against abuse manifests in the extent and manner to which leaders embrace and internalize societal values through positive actions as the church reaches out to provide protection against child abuse through proper reporting measures.
Also this news time, over 200 new students have joined the ranks of the Ross University School of Medicine RUSM student body. The Ross University School of Medicine held its white coat ceremony at the Annex in Portsmouth last Friday. Addressing the ceremony, Dean and Chancellor of the Ross University School of Medicine, Dr. Joseph Flaherty, says he believes that the new students have made the right decision in choosing Ross University Dominica campus, as the government and people of Dominica have proven to be as dedicated to the success of Ross students as the students themselves.
Where else, when you ask your friends in medical school, do the President, Mrs. Savarin, thank you so much for being here, the Prime Minister, and of course the incomparable Minister Ian Douglas, and members of the Cabinet and government, Dr. Dorian Shillingford, show up for your white coat ceremony? And I'll tell you why. They're as committed as Ross is to your success. The whole community is. How you're housed, where you can get food, things you can do, boats you can rent, places you can go, transportation. The faculty is genuinely committed to your success. We all want you to make it. So a lot depends on you.
Parliamentary representative for the Portsmouth constituency, the Honorable Ian Douglas, who also addressed the function, said that the Dominica-Ross relationship has always been exceptional and is looking to get even better.
And over the years, we have built a very good relationship. The people of the town of Portsmouth, and in fact, the entire island of Dominica, have embraced Ross University and have cradled the school to where it is today, to the great success that it has become. We, as the locals on Dominica, we have set up every single facility to create every service here in the Picard and the Portsmouth area for your convenience, so that you can concentrate on your studies. You have nothing to worry about. Every single facility has been created. Even the apartments that you will stay in are about some of the best in the world, with some of the best amenities. I remember back in the 80s when the rooms were basic, and now you have real comfortable apartments that you can settle in. The security all over, not only on campus, but around Picard is second to none. And we really look out and look after you as family while you are here.
Keynote speaker of the ceremony, Dr. Nikhil Bayani, told the newcomers to embrace the people that they meet along the educational journey, as they will be the people the students will never forget.
While in Dominica, not only did I learn the basic sciences, but of course how to respect the local people, fellow classmates, school officials, and the office staff who handle the day-to-day activities here at Ross University to help the students achieve their goal. I came here on Tuesday afternoon, met a lot of people here on the island, here at the university who were here actually when I was here back in '99 and 2000, and they still remembered me and my friends. Like I said, this is a long-lasting relationship. It all starts here, and it'll carry on. You never know in your medical career when you'll run into each other.
And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, compagnie Petro Caribe a célébré 10 anniversaire depuis une opération ici. Compagnie la chaîne en cérémonie bon matin là, où là ils ont lancé une activité. Ministre Petro Caribe, Honorable Reginald Austri, adressé cérémonie là.
Eh bien, ça nous a fait aujourd'hui, comme ça, agreement Petro Caribe signé en 2005, juin, à Caracas, et l'année c'est la 10 l'année depuis Petro Caribe a existence. Et nous avons dit que pour tellement travail Petro Caribe a fait à Dominique, nous avons cru que nous avons une obligation pour nous célébrer le 10e anniversaire. Et c'est ça nous avons lancé ici aujourd'hui. Et nous avons une activité aujourd'hui, en 29 juin. Et nous avons une grosse cérémonie pour nous renommer Petro Caribe. Nous avons nommé après Hugo Chavez, parce que Petro Caribe c'était un brainchild. Hugo Chavez a déjà mené un lot bénéfice pour Dominique, que ça nous pour faire quelque chose de spécial pour nous changer mémoire Hugo Chavez.
Honorable Austri fait parole développement Petro Caribe pour la Dominique.
Là, vous regardez Dominique. Là, vous regardez les infrastructure development. Vous regardez Scott said Surface Defense Wall, pliqué $30 million. Vous regardez Titan Sea Wall, pliqué $10 million. Vous regardez Chimé Petite Souffre Rosalie, au Lolage aussi. Nous regardons toutes ces vieux faits là, nous tenons en l'entourant Jimit. Nous tirons ça à Petro Caribe $4 millions. En Guantan, nous tous ces mauvais bateaux là, c'est bord la mer là, c'est à Petro Caribe. Nous tirons ça. L'école Salibé, nous faisons ça à Petro Caribe. Et là, nous lançons Housing Revolution. Premier $30 millions nous tapé. Ça, c'est l'argent qui est sorti en Petro Caribe. Et tout le monde doit connaître le bénéfice qui est la Housing Revolution. C'est cas là Saint Joe, c'est cas dans pays Caraïbe. 50 Petro Casa. Nous avons Pointas, nous avons Guambé, nous avons Rosso North. Tous ces projets là, c'est à Petro Caribe qui nous trouvait ce projet là. Gaz, cooking gas pour mon alage. Gaz pour nous pêcher en Casse-Brousse, en Font-Saint-Jean, en Soufrière, en Guantas. Tous ces projets là sortis en bas Petro Caribe.
En notre nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique a continué et développement sport en Dominique. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre sport, Honorable Justin Charles, pendant la cérémonie en Woodford Hill, où là, il présentait un chèque pour yon avec $43 000 pour village consulat pour dépenser pour le développement sport en communauté.
Ça c'est travail manière gouvernement ka commit quoi pour développer sports en Dominique pas nous pas qu'on fait playing field mais nous ka fait nous ka make sure nous ka garder compte policy pour make sure nous ça guide tout management ces field là et tout travail qui nous pour faire avec sports avec organisation sports en Dominique so nous just complete comme ça des mois qui passaient nous ba souffrir l'argent aujourd'hui nous ka ba Woodford Hill so ça c'est manière gouvernement because nous savent during campaign avant élection during election ça c'est une manière nous promettre moun nous ka garder contre ces playing fields là en Dominique so Woodford Hill actuellement ka taper ça et ben nous ka garder contre les autres playing fields là temps en comptant venir nous ka garder qui laisse nous ça fait juste nous adresser presque toutes ces playing fields là qui est Dominique so nous ka essayer nous ka wish bien nous tout bien que marche bien et c'est moun qui pon pride en ça et yo même qui mette contribution yo pour make sure playing field la manière yo te vle.
Yon résident Alexandrina Carbon bien plaisir pour faciliter là.
Moi c'est mon Woodford Hill. Et moi ka senti bon et moi aimer voir ça gouvernement la fait ba mon Woodford Hill. Puis playing field là c'était en mauvais state mais à présent nous avons tout bien fini bien et l'argent là yo ba là présent ah bon Dieu merci pour pays là merci pour prime ministre là moi c'est un comment playing field là ka ranger moi c'est un bon cricketer moi non c'est Bruce Bellinger qui André yo ka Master Blaster et qui est content mais sorti passer là les jeunes qui est content pour venir voir cricket et monter des enfants là comment vous cricket encore.
Alors, nouvelle ministre de Santé régionale en premier stade Dominique Honorable Dr. Kelvar Darroux, ni confiance qui programme pour supporter un SIDA en ces différents pays qui est tapé support financier. Si l'homme ministre Darroux a papier pour faire représentation financière pour Global Fund, pour SIDA, TB et puis malaria, qui a tapé attention. Fund ça c'est une organisation internationale qui a supporté un pays au compte de maladie. Dr. Darroux aussi fait parole qui ont plan par cela. C'est le gouvernement régional qui fait contribution fond cela. En même temps, le gouvernement Dominique a fait provision pour les gens qui ont souffert et puis en maladie sida pour se taper médication. Et puis finalement, le Parlement pour Saint-Joseph, Honorable Kelvar Darroux, fait présentation ordinateur pour l'école première communauté Salam. Honorable Darroux fait présentation la check temps qui passe.
Hod l'école Caleb John Laura Primary, Hod Saint Joe, nous te bail c'est présentation pour computers. Et bien ça c'est pour moi de ces enfants là, les Hod l'école pour faire travail yo. Plus nous ka vivre Hod information technology age. Et puis ces computers yo tenir à l'école là, c'est yo obsolète, pas bon encore. So moi c'est mon Hod Parlement pour Saint Joe. Et puis moi ka visiter l'école là tous les jours. Je parle puis principal là et puis c'est teachers qui ont fait IT dans l'école là et puis ils disent moi ils ont besoin de ces computers là so moi fait une présentation dans l'école là il était well received moi ça dit ces enfants là ils étaient happy et puis ces teachers là so money my responsibility as mon hot parlement pour Saint Joe pour faire ça moi ça fait pour lever la communauté et puis faire une bonne communauté.
Messieurs et mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle à Creole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson. Au revoir.
Coming up next, your tip of the day.
Get in and fasten your seatbelt, okay?
Mom, why do I have to wear seatbelts? I do not want to.
James, when I ask you to fasten your seatbelt, please do as I say. It's for your own safety and protection, okay?
Yeah.
Protect yourself, protect the child. Always fasten your seatbelt. Crashes can happen at any time. It is better to be safe than sorry. Remember, seatbelts save lives. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.
Did you know that becoming at one with nature can help reduce your stress? The soothing, stress-relieving power of nature has been recognized for centuries. Many hospitals and health centers now make nature areas a part of their therapeutic environment. And when properly tailored to the individual's conditioning and enjoyment, physical exercise can help reduce your stress and anxiety as well. So please take a walk outside and enjoy nature. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscast on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here at GIS, I'm Tasia Floissac. Thanks for watching and do join us again next time on National Focus.
Hello? Make sure you have to call me back because I'm going to cross the street.
Of a pedestrian crossing. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.